Namaste to everybody. Before we do anything with this presentation today, let us first, wherever you are, just sit up, close your eyes, and I want to start off with a beautiful prayer. The purpose of today's prayer is to send out an absolute soulful energy to all those people who are working today on essential duties so that we can remain home, safe and healthy. To all the hospital nurses, all the janitors, all the truck drivers, all the grocery people. So I will like your mind to be there, and let us sit quietly. All of you close your eyes, and 2 minutes, let us meditate and send these people a beautiful morning healing energy. Close your eyes, center your mind. Wherever you are sitting, bring your mind there. Mentally try to feel these people who are working, who are risking their own lives for the sake of us. And let this silent moment be for their benefit. The very first thing today I want to say is, now that this pandemic is going on and everybody is using a term called social distancing, and I want to make a little change and want to tell you people that let us not use the word social distancing. Let us use the word physical distancing, but social connection, social union, social get together, social oneness, not social distancing. It has to be physical distancing and social union, social solidarity. Let us try to little spread this word. Second thing, now that this pandemic is going on, and I have to talk a little bit, just a few minutes about this. And all of you, most of us who are in spiritual life for quite some time, we know that whenever there is a crisis that invades our lives, whether it is individually, whether it is collectively, any crisis that comes is always a call. It is a call for change. It is a call to review the past. It is a call for awakening towards a higher moral, ethical, and spiritual growth. So, even this particular pandemic that we are facing now, let us use it as a wake-up call. And each one of you, whom I know very personally, I want each one of us, as we go through this Bhagavad Gita teaching, to start thinking a little bit, thinking of the past, certain social aspects and certain individual aspects. In the social aspect, I want each one of you to think and review whether our present economic system, which is not based on any gold standard, based on greed and motivated by profit, is this system good for us? Our for-profit healthcare system, as on today, there are 40 million uninsured people. There are another 40 million less insured people. Is this for-profit healthcare system good for us? Let us review now that we have time. Also, this review, this social idea that we have here in America of an American dream, is that the highest human aspiration towards which we should strive for? Also, the character of the leaders. May I inform you, just a few days from now, 2nd April, in India, we are going to celebrate Ram Navami, Lord Rama's birthday. Although this time the celebration may not take place because of the pandemic, but nevertheless, Lord Rama's birthday falls on 2nd April. And Lord Rama, in my culture, has been absolutely idealized. The highest ideal of what type of a king, what type of a leader we should have in any country, any society, at any time. So the review that I want you to do, what type of character qualities should our leaders in Congress have? If the leaders are mostly millionaires and they are dictated by billionaires, then these leaders, for whom will they work? Let us review, let us think, and then decide what sort of leaders we will like to have in our social situations. Now, just a few words as far as the individual things. Now that we are all closed up in our own homes, we have time, we don't have that work pressure. This is the best time to practice as much yoga, breathing exercise called pranayama, meditation techniques, mantra chanting, mantra singing. The more time we spend in these things, the more our immune system will get strengthened. If I have to protect myself, the best thing is to make my immune system strong. And these methods will make my immune system better, healthier. So even if there is a virus floating around, my system knows how to tackle it. As far as the breathing techniques, as far as the asanas or the meditation techniques that we have to practice, from this Thursday onwards, I'm going to give a class from 10 o'clock to 11:30 in the morning. And there I will be discussing these breathing techniques and meditation techniques. If you want to join, that is the time you can join that. As far as this moment is concerned, I just want to tell you one or two points as regards diet. Now, I'm sure all of you are aware that diet cannot be acidic in nature. If my body is acidic in nature, then all the cancers that we are having cancers come only when the body is in acidic state. We have to make it alkaline. And what foods are good, that is what. Let us review which food is good. As far as I am concerned, all white sugar, all white flour is not good. All beef, all pork is not good. We have to reduce them. Review our diet and spread this message with everybody that what sort of a diet strengthens and stimulates the nervous system and makes the nervous system strong, immune system strong. One more thing I want to today tell you is fasting. Fasting. Now that we are not pressurized by any workload, let us use this time a little bit on fasting. 1 day fast on a lemon juice or an orange juice is excellent. If you can do it, you will immediately find a boost in your immune system. If you can't do that, then at least 1 meal a day. Give up a breakfast, give up a dinner, have 1 meal a day. Practice a little fasting. And for some of you, just for some of you who may not know, I will just give 1 or 2 points about what to take to keep the immune system strong. Early morning, for example, early morning in an empty stomach, if I just take a warm glass of water with a few drops of lemon and a slight few pinch of salt, not table salt, Himalayan salt. And that particular drink, if you take early morning, that cleanses the digestive system, makes the body healthy. Apart from that, there is another beautiful health tonic. If you just take a small piece of ginger, crush it, 1 clove of garlic, crush it. This crushed ginger and clove, if you boil it in water for 3 minutes, you can add basil leaves if you have. If you can add a little bit of black pepper powder, you can add a little honey. And then this boiled water, take 2 times, 3 times a day. That will do everything good for all types of sinus difficulties, chest congestions, running nose, and it will bring the immune system at a very good, high level. Let us do that. Now, with this little information, I want your mind now. Just 1 minute, I want all of your mind, everybody in your mind, just go back 5,000 years ago in a battlefield in India. Before I give the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, I want you to understand the conditions, the social, the individual condition that led to this teaching. If you don't know that, the teaching becomes intellectual. So just for 1 minute, think and visualize that in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there were at least 2 million people had converged in that battlefield. 2 million minimum people had converged in their battlefield 5,000 years ago in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The battle was fought only for 18 days, just 18 days. And in that 18 days, these 2 million people completely perished, died. Can you understand the tragic situation of a culture, of a country, which in a short span of 18 days loses 2 million of its best individuals from both sides? And those 2 million soldiers who got killed, they were all young or middle-aged, which means back home, each one of them had a wife, had a mother. So we can very safely say 4 million women were crying and weeping and wailing a loss and a tragedy of an enormous scale. And to this, if I add the number of the children and the elderly, then you can understand what a big, tragic situation it was for a culture, for a country which has lost so many people in a short period of time. It was in the beginning of that crisis that this teaching was given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Now, before I give the teaching, I will like to put a question to all of you who are hearing me today. That war, which was fought 5,000 years ago, did that war check the other wars? We have fought one after other, and the wars have never stopped. Even in our own time, we have fought World War I, II, and the wars have not stopped. Also, when we talk of these pandemics, is this the first time? Is this the last time? We have had pandemics, epidemics earlier with cholera, with typhoid, with malaria. Few years back, we had with swine flu. And now we are having this. This will also pass away. We will be able to bear it. But the question is that this sort of a crisis, whether it is war or pandemic or natural disasters, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, they keep coming again and again in a human being's life. So it is from this point of a tremendous crisis, what is the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita? That is the point. And today I have selected only those few verses which will help us, strengthen us, inspire us, motivate us, make us strong to go through our present crisis which we are facing today without fear, without panic, without trying to run to the shops for hoarding. There is no shortage of food. So let us not run and try to get more than what we need. Let us not go for any hoarding. Let us not create panic. Let us be kind to people when we go outside. But all of you today who are listening to me, I consider all of you as advanced spiritual souls, not beginners, not normal people. So I have selected the verse. I am giving a philosophy which is of the highest type, difficult for most people, but it should be easy for us to follow. And those who will be able to follow this philosophy, they will find eternal peace. They will find stable peace. Come what may, they will have strength. They will have peace. They will have wisdom. So, with this little introduction before the Bhagavad Gita, now Lord Krishna, standing on that battlefield, knows fully well the crisis that is coming. He is giving a teaching not only to Arjuna in that battlefield, but for all mankind, for all times to come. And that teaching has become the most celebrated love teaching for the last 5,000 years. Now, how did the teaching begin? What was the first teaching? The very first thing that I want to bring up in front of you is the nature of the world that we are living in. The very nature of the world that our human life is involved. What type of nature are we facing in our day-to-day life? What is the characteristic of life on earth? This is the first teaching. And then Krishna goes on to say, Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada agama paino nitya tam stitikshasya bharata. A very beautiful psychology and philosophy. He's saying, oh Arjun, understand the nature of this world. Every time, matra sparsh, every time your senses, your eyes, your ears, your skin, your nose, every time your senses contact the objects outside, it will always create a dual feeling. A feeling of good and a feeling of bad. A feeling of heat, a feeling of cold. It will create a pleasurable or an unpleasurable sensation. Every time, good days, bad days, you just contact this world around you with your senses. Your sense experiences will always create a dual condition of heat and cold, or sukha dukkha, happiness and unhappiness. So, happiness and unhappiness, joy and sorrow in your life is going to come to you like changing seasons. And oh Arjun, this cannot be avoided because this is the very nature of life on earth. So then, what to do? And the first big instruction was, Tam stitikshasya bharata. Oh Arjun, learn to bear the pain. Titiksh, learn to bear the difficulties. Learn to deal with the difficulties. Learn to handle the difficulties. Learn to conquer the difficulties. But you cannot run away from the difficulties. You cannot say, I will only have the good and I don't want the bad. I will only like to be happy. I will never like to be unhappy. I always like to be inspired. I don't like to be depressed. Now, this sort of a thought will not happen, because the very nature of life is dualistic condition. And we have to learn to be strong enough, not only in the good moments, but also in the difficult and bad moments, as this present crisis is. Then, two more words he is using in chapter 8. Those of you read Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 15. He has used two words. One word is dukhalayam, dukh and alayam. Alayam means abode and dukha means sorrow. Krishna is saying this world itself is an abode of sorrow. It's a place where you will get pain and suffering. Even when you are doing good things, even when you are in a good experience, even the best love of your life, even the best relationships, they also over a period of time is going to bring to you pain and suffering, because the very nature of this place is sorrowful abode, abode of sorrow. Dukhalayam. It doesn't mean that I should not seek out security, comfort, happiness, relationship, love. It doesn't mean that. It is simply saying, even when you are confronted, you are enjoying the best. Even that moment, you have to know that this best will not last long, because the nature of this world is ashashvatam, ashashvatam, impermanent, temporary. Everything is temporary, impermanent. So this is the nature of this world. In this temporary, impermanent abode of sorrow, if I am looking for something permanent, then it is my wrong understanding. And that wrong understanding will add on to all the other pain and suffering that I may have. So what is the first fundamental teaching? Teaching is understand the nature of this world and be strong. Be strong is the very first teaching. The place that I come from in India, Bengal. In Bengal, a poet saint is singing, Bipode more rakha karo, inohi mor prarthuna, bipode jeno nakori ami bhoy. My Lord, if my life falls in danger, at that time, I don't want you to come and protect me. I am not a spiritual baby. I am a spiritual grown-up person. I don't need you to come and protect me. But I do need, my Lord, that you give me strength that I can protect myself in any danger. Dukho tape bethito chite nai badile shantona dukkhe jano korite pari joy. When my life is overcome by sorrow, by loss, by tragedy, I have had a big loss, a tragedy, a bad experience in my life. At that time, my Lord, don't comfort me. Don't comfort me. But my Lord, at that time, give me strength. So it is always all our ancient Upanishads, all our books, all our sacred scriptures is constantly telling us that be strong, learn how to deal with the problems of life, and in spite of the problem, learn to be peaceful, happy, healthy, strong. Even while going through the problem, learn to be peaceful, contented, satisfied. That is the highest philosophical teaching. And if I have to make myself strong, I can make myself strong physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. At every level, I have to bring up strength. But the culture is always talking the highest strength comes from the spiritual understanding of who you are. And as long as you are not ready to understand who you are, then any amount of physical strength and emotional strength will not be able to give you that permanent peace which you are seeking. So how do I gain the highest spiritual wisdom which will strengthen me in such a way that even the worst difficulties in life doesn't disturb my peace? So the teaching goes, nature of the self. The first teaching was the nature of the world that I am living. And now to strengthen myself, nature of myself. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya. Ajo nitya shashvato yam purano na hannate hannamane shari. This subject matter of the nature of the self is known to many of you, I know. So I will not talk much. I will not try to explain this much because many of you have heard me speaking again and again. But just know that when the body dies, I don't die. I am not the body. And every time I identify with my body, I am a man, I am a woman. Every time I identify even with my mind, then I am weak, I am strong. I am not good, I am good. All these dualistic feelings will come only when I learn to identify myself with my soul nature, my Atman, my blissful nature. Only when I know that I am an eternal, immortal, blissful light being. It is from that wisdom all the other strength to live my life joyfully will come to me. So it is this, whenever we meditate, whenever we sit quietly, whenever I have one leisure moment, let me again and again remind in my mind my true nature and all my relationship problems, all my difficulties in social life, my professional life, wherever I have any clash, any tension, anything that is disturbing my emotions, anything that is making me unhappy and depressed, in those moments, may I remind myself that this unhappiness is only at the level of the body and at the level of my mind. And I am not this body and mind, they are my instruments. And I have to identify myself as a soul, as a blissful light being, which is using the body and mind as an instrument. And when the body is unhealthy, yes, a little pain will be there. But no unhappiness should be there. No depression should be there. So the solution to every human problem, whether it is physical, whether it is social, whether it is financial, even in financial difficulties, what teaching to practice, we will see a little later. In all forms of crisis, this wisdom that my human life is very temporary, very short. It is going to be over soon. And for eternally, I am a light being who cannot be hurt, cannot be wounded. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka. O Arjun, you are that which no weapon can pierce and no fire can burn. You are that. Always identify yourself with that. So in my individual life, if I get into a crisis like we are now socially in a crisis, financial crisis, many people will suffer. Some people will die. God forbid. Let this particular pandemic not do too much of a destruction. God forbid. But there is a likelihood. People will die. My friends, my relatives around me, my neighbors may, God forbid. I don't want it, but it may happen. So any individual crisis that comes to me, I am a light being. Nobody can hurt me. Nobody can wound me. It is difficult. I know. This is the highest teaching. It is difficult to practice. But those who can live their life through this practice, they will be able to inspire others. And each one of you who are listening to this, I want each one of you to become an inspiring teacher, an inspiring friend for everybody around you, that whatever difficult moments come, we bear it, we deal with it. This much as far as the nature of the self is concerned. This is a philosophy. It's a philosophy. Nature of the world, nature of the self. My knowledge about myself will make me peaceful, happy in this changing, impermanent world. One more philosophical teaching which I want to give, because I consider all of you to be evolved souls. And evolved souls, what sort of an attitude we should have when our life is in the midst of a crisis, individually, collectively. Attitude of a wise person, attitude of a saintly person, attitude of a person who is practicing yoga. And this teaching comes chapter 2, verse 69. Chapter 2, verse 69. Ya nisha sarva bhutani tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagarti bhutani sa nisha pashyato me. In simple language, what is being conveyed is, when an average worldly person considers as night and goes to sleep, for an average worldly person, night is a sleeping time and they sleep. That sleeping time, night time of a worldly person, normal person, is actually a time to remain awake by the wise people. Wise people use that night time to remain awake. And when the worldly people are awake in the daytime and they are going about doing their normal duties of life, their livelihood, their family, their children, and their ambition, their comforts, when they are going to do that, those duties to a wise person is night time. A wise person will also do those duties, but he will not be attached to the outcome of those duties. He will be detached. So the teaching here is daytime and nighttime. Daytime means whatever a normal worldly person is trying to do in his life. Take care of his family. He has certain desires, fulfilling his desires. He's running after fulfillment of those desires. He has ambition. He wants to fulfill those ambitions. That is his daytime. And these worldly ambitions are night. A wise man does everything, but he doesn't cling to this. He doesn't cling to the work. He doesn't cling to the outcome of the work. He does it because it is his duty. He has to do. He has to also maintain his family, maintain his health. He will do everything, but he will not keep the emotions entangled with the outcome of his activities. And he will turn his mind towards inside. It is this inward turning is daytime for a wise person. And an average person has no desire to do this inward turning. In this inward turning through meditation, the mind actually finds everything that is looking out. So those of you who are practicing yoga, those of you who are teaching yoga, who are counseling, we will do everything like any ordinary person. But a part of our mind should go always inside. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sam. Don't get emotionally entangled with the things that are outside. Be detached, non-attachment, just like a lotus flower. A lotus flower blossoms, blooms from a very dirty, muddy water. But it comes out and it doesn't allow that dirt to stick to it. So lotus flower, we always give an example. Be like that lotus flower. This world is muddy. This world is dirty. This world we can't really change. But in this dirty, muddy world, I can live my life like that lotus flower, not allowing that dirt to sting to me. How do I do that? That is the teaching. And through meditation, through many other methods, we will learn. But that is what I have to do. Live my life like a lotus in this dirty world. And this is what this verse is trying to convey to us. Now I will take up. Whenever there is a crisis, a problem, some people are always in a state of weakness. Some people will be in a state of physical suffering. Some people will be in a state of financial difficulties. Some people may be absolutely starving. People will be in different conditions, in weak state. Everybody cannot be strong. Everybody will not be a millionaire in life. Everybody may have an ambition to be a millionaire. Everybody will not be a millionaire. There are some people who will always remain in a weak state, in an unhappy state, in a depressive state, in a sick state, in a handicapped state. What is the teaching for those people? I am very pleased to say that in this Bhagavad Gita teaching, we do not say might is not right. Might is not right in the human kingdom. Might is right maybe in the animal kingdom, but might is not right in the human kingdom. Weakness is not a crime. Life is not a struggle only for survival. To prove oneself as the strongest or the bravest is not necessarily a need. I don't always have to prove myself to be something. Living the American dream is not necessarily a human virtue. Let this be clear. That dream, those who are living, okay, fine, they are good. Let them, till such time they realize the truth of this world. But that is not a virtue by itself. Weakness, sickness, handicapped state, loss, injustice, pain, suffering, these are very much part of human life. And often, evolved souls, good souls, souls who are evolved in their nature's evolution scale, these souls often choose before birth, they choose to undergo these difficult circumstances so that they can quicken their spiritual growth. So, looking down upon people who are a little sick or suffering or has a weak will, let us say, people who have a strong will, good. But the strong will people are always demanding. A people who is in a weak state, you have to become like me, you have to become like me, be like me, do what I am doing. We have to learn to accept people as they are, give them time, give them enough opportunities, many chances, and help them. If you are strong, help the other person a little bit to come up to your level. Don't try to teach and advise these people to do what I am doing. Do what I am doing. That is not. So that is why in this Bhagavad Gita teaching, one or two verses is very dear to my heart. And one of the verses chapter 9. That chapter 9, verse 22. Ananyas chintayanto ma ye jana paryupasate tesham nityayuktanam yogakshema bahamyam. What a beautiful teaching is this. Lord Krishna is saying, Arjuna, in moments of your difficulties, in moments of your pain and suffering, when your willpower is not strong enough to do the necessary self-effort. Yes, there is a teaching. God helps those who help themselves. That teaching is there. That teaching is good. But if somebody is not in a position to assert that willpower, in a weak state, is that person has to die? No. Krishna says, in a state of your weakness, if you cannot assert your will, if you're not being able to do that self-effort which is required of you to come out of the difficulty, if you cannot do it, no problem. What you have to do is, in a part of your mind, just a part of your mind, keep on thinking of me. Ananyas chintayantam. Think of me. Be a little thankful. Be a little grateful to me for the things, the good things that have happened in your life. And as you keep your mind thinking of me with a little thanksgiving and a sense of gratitude, then what will I do? Yogakshema bahamyam. I will carry the burden of your life. Your life which looks to you a burden because of your physical health, because of your financial distress. Life has become a burden. Life has become pressure. Life has become tense. In these moments, I will yogakshema bahamyam. I will carry the burden of your life. Whatever you have, I will keep it intact for you. What you don't have, I will slowly supply it to you. I will take care of you. Pita hamasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha. I am your father. I am your mother. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi. Nivasaha sharanam sruhit. Gatir bharta. Sruhit. I am your father. I am your mother. I am your best friend. I will be there for you. Have that faith. Have that trust. The help and the support that you always look for may not always come to you in the form you are looking for. But help and support and inspiration is always there with you because I am sitting inside of you and I know every problem of yours. Ahamatma gudakesha sarva bhuta shayasthita. I am sitting inside of you as your own soul, yourself. When you are in pain, I am in pain. I am feeling your pain. I know about your pain. I will help you. All that you have to do is think of me. Be a little thankful, grateful. Remember me. I am the giver of the gifts. You are trying to enjoy the gifts, but the giver of the gifts you tend to forget. Many of you are parents, human beings, parents. If your children, you give so many things to your children. And if these children, after you give so much of toys, so much of love, so much of care you give to your children, if the children do not show a little thankfulness, don't you feel good? As a parent, similarly, I have given you sunshine, I have given you air, I have given you what? I have given you many joys of your life. If you just seek me out, thank me, be grateful, then I will carry the burden of your life. This is one of the most strengthening teaching in moments of weakness. And when we are not in that weak moment, When we are in a strong moment, then other teachings will come to help us to grow. But now I am talking of people who are in a moment of sickness. Many people at this moment will become sick. Many people will have financial losses. So what could be a teaching to strengthen them, to inspire them, to give them some hope in life? That look, you are not a victim of circumstance. Whatever happens, help is always there. But it will not always come in the way you are wanting it. So don't expect the help to come in a particular way, but keep your mind open. No, have faith, have trust that whatever you are wanting, you will get the necessary support. Bharta, Gatir Bharta. Bharta means supporter. I am the supporter of your life. Even before you are born, Krishna conveying the message to mankind, even before you are born, I have kept milk in your mother's breast. If I can do that even before your birth, can't I take care of your needs when you are here? So have faith, have trust, have this knowing that there is a guiding intelligence around, and that guiding intelligence is protective, loving, caring, and that guiding intelligence has given the love in the heart of a mother to love the child. The love that a mother shows to a human child, from where has that love come? That love is a gift of God to us. So we are trying to enjoy the gifts, but we forget the giver. And the teaching is learn to express gratitude, learn to express thankfulness, which the more we do, the better it is. So in moments of weakness, this is my teaching. One more point which I want to stress very strongly. In this culture, in America, in this culture, often I see people say, we will not discuss politics, we will not discuss religion, because it is divisive, we don't like to discuss. Two words, politics and religion, has become taboo for discussion. Now my question is, if I don't discuss politics, how do I know which leader is good, which policies are good? It needs to be discussed. Children should be taught how to discuss it amicably, lovingly, even if there is a difference of opinion, how not to get agitated, angered, how to do it politely, peacefully, happily, cheerfully. And even if there is a difference of opinion, no problem. That is what children has to be taught, in spite of saying, don't discuss politics, don't discuss religion. I myself don't know who this lady is. Her name is Martha Gellhorn. Martha Gellhorn has written this. People often say with pride, I am not interested in politics. They might as well say, I am not interested in my standard of living, my health, my job, my rights, my freedom, my future, or any future. If we mean to keep any control over our world and our lives, we must be interested in politics. We have to spiritualize politics. We have to bring spiritual ideals and values into our political environment, the way Mahatma Gandhi exhibited, the way Nelson Mandela did, and saying we don't discuss. It's not good. So we have to get involved in spiritual life, in yoga studios. Every spiritual teacher and counselor must be able to guide people as to what sort of policies are good. In my country, in an ancient tradition, the kings used to have a saintly advisor, a guru, to guide them into the right decision in their political thing. They didn't have economic advisors. They had gurus as advisors to tell them how to do everything morally, ethically, for the good of everybody. Every subject is supposed to be a family member. So I want everybody to train children how to politely, nicely, lovingly discuss issues, pros and cons of different issues. Then religion. Nobody wants to discuss religion. If we don't discuss religion and we allow people to come up with all their own ideas, then what has happened in the world? If everybody thinks Jesus is my savior, what happens? Allah is my God, and that is the only path. What has happened with this idea? How much of bloodshed has gone? So we have to bring these religious ideas, bring them in a scientific environment, try to investigate and see who is teaching what and how much truth is there. That discussion has to be there. And a blind belief system in a sacred book or even a teaching of a sacred prophet, a blind belief system is not wisdom. Each one of us in the 15th, 16th century, each one of us, we thought that the earth is flat. We believed that the earth is flat. But just because everybody believed that the earth is flat, did the earth become flat? So our belief system does not create truth. Just because I believe, it doesn't become a truth. So we have to bring the religious teachings, all the sacred teachings at one place and see in a scientific investigation, interrogation, discussion, common sense, rational logic, psychic faculties, intuitive ability. We apply all this to see where lies the truth, and where there is not truth, we slowly discard them. God created life in 6 days. Well, that 6 days, now we have to, it is written in 6 days. But we know it had happened in 6 days. So now we have to rethink on that. We can use other ideas. We can say, okay, it was God's time, not human time. It will become better. But some sort of a review of the ancient text and their teaching has to continually go. And it must, our common sense and our rationality should not be discarded. Blind belief systems is creating problems. So politics and religion, I want everybody to participate and discuss amongst friends, family members, children. There's a third thing which here people just don't like. And that is death. Nobody likes to discuss death. Nobody likes to talk of it. And in my culture, the saints will say, you learn how to die. You have done many things in life. Now the only thing that you have to learn is learn how to die. And here talking about death is a taboo. So now in the Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna say about death? In Indian culture, this is a very central teaching, not just from the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a beautiful teaching by Krishna 5,000 years ago. He consolidated and made a beautiful, precise synthesis of all the teaching. But the teachings existed even before that. So what is the teaching? Antakale cha mameva, antakale cha mameva, smaran muktva kalevaram. Smaran muktva kalevaram, yaprayati samadbhavam yati nastatra samshaya. Beautiful. He says, even at the moment of death, forget the whole life, even towards the last part of your life, moment of death can be few hours before death, few days before death, few weeks before death, few months before death. Moment of death doesn't mean that's a moment. It can be the last part of your life. Even towards that, if you think of me, then don't have any doubt that you will find me. Mad bhavam, ya prayati sa mad bhavam. You will get to my nature. This is important. This is important. I just don't unite with God. I just don't go somewhere to meet with God. The teaching is that when we think of God, when we love God, when we worship God, when we meditate on God, we become mad bhavam. Krishna says, mad bhavam. You will attain to my nature. And what is God's nature? If not light, we say God is light, we say God is love, we say God is wisdom. So that nature is what I will attain. That is the benefit of practicing meditation. That is the benefit of worship. That is the benefit of all the spiritual practice, that my nature, my human nature based on my ego, which is divisive, which is separative, that ego nature gets transformed into a divine nature. And this, even if I have not been able to do it in the first part of my life, towards the very end, if I do, that will help me. So those who are in their deathbeds, those who are destined to die because of a cancer, those who are just living, so instead of getting depressed, what should they be told? Their minds have to be again and again brought out of that physical attachment and brought to the nature of the soul. You are not the body. Don't, yeah, pain is there. Bear the pain. Take a little medicine so that the pain is less. But keep the mind on your soul nature. And even if you do it towards the last part of your life, even that is beneficial. But then there is another clause which says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kontiya sada tad bhava bhavita. Another clause. This clause says, this shloka says, this verse says that at the time of death, if you think of anything else apart from me, without thinking of me, if you start thinking of somebody else, then what will happen? Then your nature will be according to what you are thinking. Whatever the mind thinks, mind attains to that nature. Mind is a creative principle. Whatever I think, I tend to become that. So we have a very celebrated story. Quickly, I will tell you a very celebrated story of a very enlightened king. A very enlightened king at one moment gave his kingdom to his successor in his old age, and he was passing his last part of his life in an Indian ashram, hermitage. The last part of my life is to keep my mind on God. But then what happened over a period of time as he is living his life, first he looked for a little comfort, then he looked for a little security in the ashram life itself. And then one fine day, a baby deer just came to the ashram and he started fondling that deer. From that little fondling, he became very attached to that deer. And now, at the moment of his death, you know what is he thinking? He's thinking, oh, what will happen to that deer of mine? Who will feed that deer? Who will take care of that deer? His mind has become deer. As a result, what happened? Next life, he was born as a deer. Now, this is not something punishment. It is he is creating in his mind, he is thinking, feeling, willing, desiring. Deer, his mind is picturing. So whatever the mind pictures, he became that. He became a deer. But he was a human soul who went into an animal body. So he's not a normal animal. He's a very enlightened deer. So now as an enlightened deer, that deer's life, it didn't behave like any other normal deer. It didn't want to live the life of a normal deer. It also found some sort of a ashram and lived that deer's life in a human ashram, moving around. So in our culture, we say, when some animals move around the ashram, or comes very close to the saints, we say that this soul of the animal is actually a human soul, and that is why it is fond of the ashram environment. Just 2 days ago, in a Facebook clip, I saw in a Hindu temple in India, some sort of a arti, devotional singing, Hanuman. Hanuman is our god, monkey god Hanuman. An arti of Hanuman was going on. And a cow, you have to see that clip, cow just walking on the streets, starts coming towards the temple, steps up the steps, climbs a few steps. It doesn't enter the temple. It stands on the steps and listening to that song. So from our Indian point, we will say some human soul is there in that cow's body. For some reason, it has gone there because it had desired or wished or something he did. Not wrong, not bad karma, but just a wishful thinking. And sometimes this wishful thinking leads us to an animal life. So that story of that king who became a deer, now he left that deer's life in an ashram. Then when the deer died, the soul again moved on to a human body. And in that body, that king found his ultimate enlightened state, soul realization. He told himself, this world is very temporary and I am not going to attach myself to anybody. I will love everybody. I will be with everybody. But I will never say that without you, I cannot live. So he found his enlightenment. So this is how we say how people move. So if you think whatever you are thinking at the moment of death, the last few days, in Indian culture, we say, look, we never know when that last moment is going to come. Always live your life as if this is the last day for you. Live your life like that. Make your will. Prepare yourself. We don't know what's going to happen. So Krishna, as a last thing, is saying, since we don't know, Arjun, since you don't know when you are going to die, which moment you are going to die, how long you are going to live, that is why, O Arjun, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mama nusmara yuddhacha. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. Therefore, Arjun, at all times, as much as possible, remember me and do your duties. Do your duties. You can't neglect the duties. Do the duties, but remember me. Mayar pita mano buddhi. Mayar pita. Surrender your mind and your intelligence to me. That mind and intelligence which I have given you as my gift to you, for some time you can use that for your growth. But if you surrender that mind and intelligence to me, then I will use that instrument for my activities, which will bring tremendous joy to your heart. So surrender your mind and to me and keep on tasma sarveshu kaleshu, not only in your moment of meditation, not only in that moment when you are practicing spiritual discipline, not only when you go to a temple or a church, but as much as possible, keep your mind on me. If you do, then again, what will be your benefit? The benefit is this: you will become like me. Not only will you come close to me, you will unite with me, but you will become like me. That becoming like me, you will enjoy like me. You will be able to do things like me. So, preparation for death. And death must be discussed in every home. I don't want my loved ones to die. Nobody wants the loved one to die. But we should be able to discuss. We should be able to see what happens after death. All the religions give different ideas. Nobody wants to make us experimentation. a research as to really what is happening after death. The Christians will have their own belief system. The Muslims will have their own belief system. The Buddhists will have their own belief system. Now, which belief system to be? Belief systems will not create any wisdom. So even what is happening after death, if we just remain within one tradition, what my tradition is saying, that one tradition will not give the truth. If you want to know the truth of what happens after death, today here in the West, many beautiful scientifically experiments are being carried out, and reincarnation has been proved as a fact here. Lot of research work is going on. People are realizing there is a thing called astral body. The religions don't teach anything called astral body, but there is a astral body which can now be seen, which can now be photographed. The colors of the astral body can be seen. So that astral body has to be studied. In the science of yoga has not come from one Jesus or one Buddha or one Moses or one Prophet Muhammad. It is not the teaching of one prophet. One prophet, howsoever great the prophet may be, and howsoever good the teaching may be, one prophet cannot answer all the questions. So what I call Hinduism is Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is the teachings of many, many people. In fact, I will say 100, and I am on this 100, Buddhas and their experiences. Now we have today 8 billion people of different types. So who will go where? What happens to whom? It differs. So if you just have one belief system, that one belief system is not sufficient. Some people are good. What happens to the good people? Some people are bad. What happens to the bad people? Some people commit suicide. What happens to those? There are many questions. Some people die in old age. Some people die in young age. So death and what happens to death, that also is a beautiful science, is a subject matter that we should question and try to figure out, try to get answers. Those of you who are interested, and those of you who have read Autobiography of a Yogi, a spiritual classic in modern times by Paramahansa Yagananda, read that chapter, Resurrection of Yukteswar, where Yogananda himself buried his guru, dead guru. 3 months later, the dead guru comes to tell him where he is, what sort of a place he is, what is he doing, and gives a beautiful description of the other side, not a wishful, wishy-washy belief systems of somebody. When I die, my personality undergoes absolutely no change. Whatever I know today, my wisdom, my experiences, the knowledge, everything that I have gathered, I have in that. Only my physical body, like an external garment, has gone out. Nothing else has changed. I remain exactly same. But there is a difference. Only difference is, if I die at the age of 80, let us say, my physical body, which was old, that old body has gone, but my energetic body, my astral body will not look like 80 years. My astral body will remain young. It will look like exactly when I was 25, 30, the best period of my physical body, that age, around 30, around 25, my astral body will look like this. I will look young. I'll be healthy. I'll be happy. My astral body is dazzling, shining light. I'll be very happy. That body doesn't need to food. That body doesn't need a livelihood. That body doesn't get tired. It doesn't need sleep. In that body, I can do whatever I feel like. If I want to sing, I sing and sing. If I want to dance, I dance and dance. Whatever I want to do, I do. In my physical body, I get tired. I have to work for my livelihood. So, in that astral body, what sort of an astral life? The whole of yoga science is a study of the astral body. Just like doctors and nurses are studying the physical body with the nervous system, similarly, the ancient yogis have studied the astral body. It is there the chakras, there the nadis, 72,000 nadis, astral nervous system. And it is in that body that I move out. My soul remains in the astral body. And that astral body, whatever that body is experiencing, that is what we call heaven in the religious term. So heaven is nothing but an experience that we have in our astral body when we give up the physical body. Sukshma sharir, sthul sharir, gross physical body. Sukshma sharir, subtle astral body which contains my mind. My mind functions from that. Then we also have a thing called Karan sharir, causal body. Causal body made out of thoughts. When my soul remains in that causal body made of thoughts and ideas, that body moves higher than heaven and what we call higher heaven, where all the angels, archangels, divine beings, they dwell. In the lower heaven, we will meet our family members, all our loved ones. Even if you love your pet, you will find your pet. Whatever you want, you will get it in heaven. You lose nothing. No fear, no worry, a temporary loss. When some people are crying and weeping over their dead people, most of the time those dead people are hovering around over the top of their head and they are trying to convey a message that don't cry, don't weep, I'm okay, and I'm taking care of you, I'm there for you. Only thing is we do not see them. That is the difficulty. But nobody ever dies. And my loved and dead ones, they're all hovering around me. I have to just think in my mind and they will be next to me. In that dimension, you move faster than light. You move with the speed of thought. So I think of my loved one, the loved one will be there. So let us learn to discuss how to die. What is the right method of dying? And during the last 3-4 days, any amount of mantra chanting, singing, scriptural studies, thought of God, thought of the soul, these are the things that we should do and divert the mind from all the material concern. So I want this particular point to be also stressed in our social life. Now the last part, as far as this workshop is concerned, how do I live my present life? I have understood the nature of the world. I have understood the nature of the self. I have understood what I should do when I am in a weak moment of my life, in a moment of loss, tragedy, what I should do, how I should pray. I have understood that. I have understood the importance of the last moment of life. But how do I live my normal life? My normal life, what should be my attitude? This is the last teaching today I want to give. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara sama dukkha sukha shami. What a beautiful verse. Let each one of us, especially those of us who are already in spiritual life, what do we have to keep practicing? Apart from the techniques of meditation, apart from the breathing exercise, apart from that meditation time itself, rest of the time, what do we practice? Adveshta sarvabhutana. I have to practice non-hatred towards all living beings. Non-hatred. Even the worst criminal, even the vilest person. I may not like the person. I may keep my distance from that person to protect myself. But in my mind, I must not hate anybody. Because in even the worst sinner, The soul is there, the divine is there, God is there. Only the mind and the body has become dirty, polluted. And moment the mind is again purified, the divinity will come forth. So no hatred towards anybody. And with this all judgments, let us drop the judgment. Sometimes we have to judge. Now, which food I should take, which food I should not take, which environment I should live, which environment which I should not live. Birds of the same feather flock together. I have to make a little judgment. People who are like me, I like to live with them. I cannot live my life with people with whom I don't relate properly. So a little bit of judgment of that is okay. But the judgment should not be to bring down that people. It should not be in a way that I hate this guy. I don't want to be in his presence. That type of thing. Even if you confront a worst sinner, your idea should be, I am seeing God in that form. What can I do to bring him out of that situation? With my love, my energy, my wisdom, my softness, my compassion, what can I do to help that individual come out of that weakness? I don't like that person. I don't want to be with that person. So this is higher teaching again. Each one of us, when we confront a person whom we don't like, when we confront a situation which we don't like, that time we, the spiritually evolved people who are practicing spirituality, we have to practice adveshta sarvabhuta. Let my mind never even be critical about somebody, be judgmental about somebody, and try to pull somebody, trying to find a fault and then exaggerate that fault. All these things has to give up. Adveshta. Now you have to think in how many ways every time a like, dislike comes up in your mind, rag and dvesh, like and dislike, you have to neutralize those. In daily life, in professional life, family life, relationship, wherever a clash is happening, that time adveshta sarvabhuta. Maitra karuna evacha. Maitra means friendly. Be friendly to all. Karuna means compassion. Be compassionate to people. Some people say, oh, he's lazy, he's not working. He doesn't work. He cannot earn money because he's lazy. Even if that be true, there can be some good reason for that person to be lazy. If you know that, you will have compassion. Try to dig deeper into a person's difficulty. Every person, every human being, we have a story. And let us understand that person's story a little bit. And then see why that person is in that difficult situation, and don't make a judgment of that person. Oh, I don't like that person. He's lazy, he's dumb, he's dull, he's not good. This sort of thing has to completely go. Maitra karuna evacha. Then nirmamo. Nirmamo. Don't be attached to anybody, including your most loved spouse. You can love your spouse as much as you want. You can love your children as much as you want. But don't ever make the mistake of thinking that this spouse of mine is my spouse. This children is my children. That mine has to go. Nobody's in this world. Your spouse will also go today or tomorrow. Your most loved one will leave you today or tomorrow. So don't be possessive. Don't be so clinging and attached to anybody. And don't say this is mine. Nirmamo means give up this tendency of possessiveness with people, with things. Any possessive tendency will always create pain. In every relationship, People are afraid. People are afraid. People tell me, I love him so much, so and so. I love. Oh, do you love that person? Or do you love your need of that person? What do you actually love? We always say, I love that person. I do that for so many things. I did so much of service to that person. That person doesn't do anything. That is not love. That is love of your need of that person. And when that need the person is not fulfilling, then you find fault. So loving a person means I give the full freedom to that person to do what that person is wanting or desiring or wishing. And for my personal benefit, for my personal need, I don't hang on. That is nirmamo. Don't be possessive. And nirahankar. Nirahankar, without ego. This ego desire for name, fame, respect, appreciation, comfort, a pat on the back. We are always wanting a pat on the back. We are always expecting somebody to praise me. As if somebody doesn't praise me, I'm nothing. That sort of a thing makes us weaklings. It has to be given up. So who will give up which sort of a ego tendency? That is different for different persons. That is why in our individual context we say, in our Indian culture, yoga is very individualistic. And yoga has to be learned at least 10 to 12 years with a guru. We say with a guru, you have to keep on obeying that guru for 10, 12 years. So that the guru gets time to enter your mind and see what other things you are wanting, needing. And one by one, all those things like weeds have to be removed from your mind. And if you don't surrender to any guru, because gurus are bad, gurus can be bad. I don't need a guru. My guru is inside. Yeah, that is true. Gurus can be bad. Gurus have done wrong things. Guru is inside. True. But you will never be able to understand where exactly you need a change unless you are absolutely connected to your own soul nature. And that also, whether you are connected with your soul, has to be confirmed by a guru. Otherwise, everybody will think, oh, God is speaking to me. Whatever comes in my mind, God is speaking to me. No, God doesn't speak like that. So, nira ahankar. Who is carrying what sort of a tendency which needs to be discarded? Sometimes things we like, even spiritual things which we like to do. Meditation. Yogananda, Paramahansa Yagananda as a boy, he was always very fond of meditating. He will get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and he will begin his meditation. He's a boy who likes to meditate. And meditation is a good thing. So every day he will get up, he will go to the Ganga in this cold weather, the month of January, February, it's cold in India. In that cold weather, he takes a bath in the cold, and then comes at 4 o'clock, he meditates, because meditation is good. His guru will come and say, don't meditate, go and sweep the floor. He's a young boy. He said, but Guruji, this is 4 o'clock in the morning, this is the time to meditate, and I am meditating. No. You give up meditation, go and sweep the floor. Okay, now what happens? At 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, daytime, now Yogananda, he's the manager of a small little ashram, and he himself has to do the cleaning. So he's doing the cleaning, sweeping, washing of the ashram, because at daytime, that is what you do. And when he's involved in that cleaning, sweeping, washing the ashram, that time the guru comes, hey, stop this, not required. Don't worry, go and meditate. But Guruji, this is not the time to meditate. This is the time to do all this work. Don't worry. If the ashram is unclean, no problem. You go and meditate. So when Yogananda wanted to meditate, the Guru says, don't do. When he didn't want to meditate and he's doing other work involved, the Guru says, do. Now this sort of a training, what for? What for? It is to break your personal likes and dislikes. And even when you are doing a good thing, that what you consider as good may not be good in the overall big scheme and may not be good for your next level of growth. You think I am doing social work, I will do all these things. You're very happy with your talents and you are using your talents for social work. But that very social work may prevent you from the next level of your growth. So how many people are wanting to meditate? If they are wanting to do social work, but they will not meditate. You tell them to meditate, their mind don't want. But that meditation is required. In my culture, I have saints who became so popular, so many healing powers came to them, and thousands of people started coming to them. And then a saint, when he got healing powers, that just by a touch he can cure lepers, and he can cure all sorts of diseases, and thousands of people are coming. At that moment, instead of enjoying those, the saint is fighting with God. He's saying, my Lord, you are cheating me. I always wanted you to come. You are sending all these people. I don't want name, fame. I don't want powers. I want you. You come. That is the extent to which people have given up some of the things that their mind likes. And you will not be able to understand that it is your mind which, through a beautiful like of your tendency, is keeping you at a level, not allowing you to grow. Nobody can understand it. That is why we need gurus. That is why we need to surrender. And even if a guru happens to be bad and the student is good, God will guide that student correctly. But we have to, at one moment, learn to give up even that which we like, so that my body and my mind becomes a hollow tube. This is my Krishna's photograph, by the way. All of you know, I'm sure you have no Krishna. Huh? This is the flute. This is the flute. The flute is hollow. Our body and mind has to be that hollow flute for the divine energy to flow. And in that hollow flute, if I have my own likes, my own ideas, and I keep working with my ideas, which is good, nothing wrong, but you will remain where you are. The next level of your growth will stop. That is why we have to constantly either contact a guru or insight to see, actually know when I have contacted myself and what is the instruction of that soul. Whatever is coming to my mind is not the instruction of the soul. I can tell you very much. I'm talking to, whom am I talking? I'm talking to the advanced seekers. I'm not talking to normal people. And even to these advanced seekers, I'm telling you that every time what comes up your mind is not your soul telling you. It is your own sanskaras from your past. It is your own things which you cultivated. They are speaking to you, not necessarily the soul. So, nirmamo, no possessiveness, and no ahankar, any desire-based activity. Then, what is the last? Sama, dukkha, sukha, shami. This is the most difficult part. Sama, dukkha, sukha. You have to learn to you have to learn to treat the good and the evil, the bad, as equal. Equanimous, equanimity in the face of these two, very difficult. Normal people cannot do this. So for the normal people, the teaching will be, look, avoid the evil, avoid the bad, be with the good, strengthen the good. Normal people. But evolved souls will have to be told, look, the good and the bad, both are coming from the same source, from the same God. The God who created light, that same God created darkness. That God who created daytime, that same God created nighttime. Good and bad doesn't come from God and devil. That devil which other religions say as separate from God, that devil itself is part of God, aspect of God. This duality has to be created in this universe. But the source of good and bad are same. So a evolved soul has to practice sama, dukkha, sukha, happiness and unhappiness, justice, injustice has to be practiced equally. If somebody is doing injustice to me, if somebody is hurting me, somebody is harming me, for a normal person, don't allow people to, don't be a doormat. We say, don't be a doormat. Don't allow people to walk on you. That is one level of teaching. But at the next higher level of teaching, anybody, anything bad coming from any source, even that is to be considered as God, and the mind has to be kept. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Yoga is equanimity of the mind in different circumstances of life. So we have to practice that. So if there is no injustice in my life, then how do I practice? If there is no bad thing happening in my life, how do I practice this? So that is why bad things has to happen, so that you can practice this. And practicing this, you move up. You move up in your growth. And if you run away from every bad thing, you run away, recoil, then you are not learning this important lesson, sama, dukkha, sukha. Treat both joy and sorrow with equanimity. And that last word, shami, you have to learn to forgive. Forgive yourself. We all know, people say, I have to forgive myself. Forgive yourself, forgive others. In that forgiveness also, there are stages, there are different levels. If somebody tries to forgive from a position of weakness, that forgiveness is not good. In my culture, we say, if a goat standing in front of a tiger, shivering in fear, and says to the tiger, Mr. Tiger, I will not kill you. I will kill you because I am a non-violent goat. That practice of non-violence by a goat in the presence of a tiger, that practice of non-violence does not bring spiritual growth. We have to know. So when to practice that forgiveness and when to go about doing certain defending, self-defending, that also has stages. And everything is not just one level teaching. Everything is not just black and white. Sometimes we forgive. Sometimes we may have to oppose. We have to fight for our right. Fight against the injustice. Sometimes we have to fight against the injustice and not always forgiving. So when to forgive, when not to forgive. Arjun during this battle, just before the battle, he said, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight even for my kingdom. My wife has been molested. I don't want to take. That was a point of weak moment. As a weakling, he was speaking like that. And Krishna said, no, you have got a higher duty. Higher duty. When Jesus forgave the people at the cross, when he said, in spite of all that pain, when he forgave not because he was a weakling. He forgave knowing fully well that he's strong enough. He's so strong, so powerful that he can simply burn these people off by a look. That power he had. Having that power and strength, he controlled that strength and forgave them. That forgiveness is a forgiveness of the highest order. So yes, that teaching is there. But when do I forget and forgive? And when do I struggle for my justice? There is a little degrees of teaching. Everything is not black and white. So this is why we have to always Be careful when we give out these highest level teachings. These highest level teachings are not always good for everybody. Even Jesus gave a very high level teaching. When somebody slaps you on the right cheek, put the left cheek. How many of us can do it? That is the highest level teaching. That will solve all problems of life. But we cannot practice. So, degrees. Depending on where my consciousness is, where my awareness is, that duty, that dharma I do, that dharma I do. And dharma for everybody is not same, each according to their capacity, each according to their talent. I am just giving my thoughts. Sometimes what happens, students immediately want to ask a question. They will immediately raise their hand and they will ask a question. That sort of a intellectual questioning I don't allow. My teaching is that even if I say something which you are not liking, let us say, or your mind is trying to say that this is not correct, what he is saying is not correct. That moment, even when the mind is not liking, I want you to absorb the thought. Absorb the thought, allow the idea to go inside what I am giving you, even when your mind is not liking, even when you think that what is being taught is not accurate. I want it to go inside. We say, Shravanam, listen, listen, listen. Even if you don't like, listen. From Shravanam comes Mananam, contemplation, contemplation, think. You knew certain things, a new thought is coming to you, a new idea you're not liking, it is coming to you. Allow that new thought and idea to have a little digestion inside, to mix up with your old ideas and this new idea. Let them little revolve inside. Then nidhi dhyasam. Shravanam, mananam, nidhi dhyasam. Meditate. Meditate. Allow the mind to become still. First listen, then think, contemplate, then allow the mind to become still. In that still moment, the clarity will come. How and why the teachings are contradictory. So that is why I don't. But if somebody, after listening, after digesting, after thinking, after meditation, comes back with a question, then I am telling all of you, I answer everybody's question through an email. Anybody all over the world is writing to me, and 2 hours at night I spend writing back every email within 24 hours. I will always answer everybody's question. But when I'm saying something, that time I don't want a hand to be raised, because whatever I am saying, right or wrong, I want that idea to be digested first. Intellectual discussions are good, nothing wrong. That also brings clarity. But certain higher, refined understanding doesn't come through the intellect. It has to come through the intuition, and we have to develop intuition. And for that, meditation is required. And that meditation also not according to your ideas. People can say, I have meditated for so many years. Well, you may have meditated for many years, that is fine, but you meditated according to your ideas. And your ideas, the world is not getting governed by your ideas. So just because you have meditated doesn't mean that you are connected with the soul, doesn't mean everything coming to you. So meditation also has to be done under somebody's guidance. That somebody has to know all your emotional hooks and crooks. I know, I will not mention the guru's name. I know a guru who told one of his disciples, just keep shaking your head like this. He told him, you do it for 1 hour. And the neck got pain, it is paining, muscles are paining. What is this? What sort of a technique is this? But I was also trying to find fault with that guru. Then I went a little deeper and realized that this particular individual had some sort of a psychic block in the throat chakra. The throat chakra has 16 petals, by the way. The throat chakra has 16 petals. 16 petals means 16 nadis. 16 nadis moving from this chakra all over the world, sending energy. In one particular nadi, there was a block of an emotional block. And that can be only done by this particular movement, making that particular part a little active so that the emotional block can be removed. So many things we cannot do on our own. Even meditation techniques I cannot do on my own. I may have achieved certain level. At one level, I have achieved something good by my self-effort. But just because I have achieved this level, that is not the end. There are levels higher and higher. So always it is best to do things under guidance. The last thing today. How to live life. How to live life. Adveshta sarvabhutanam. No hatred for anybody. Friendliness and compassionate towards all. No possessive tendency towards anybody. Nothing should you possess. Some of the egoistic needs and desires have to be given up. Treat good and bad same equanimity and learn to forget and forgive. This was one. And the last part is this. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapna bhavodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. Yoga will remove all sorrow from your mind, sorrow from your heart, all heaviness, all depression, all unhappiness. Yoga will remove it. But along with the practice of yoga, you have to also be balanced in 4 things. The first thing is balanced diet. Balanced diet. There is a beautiful idea of balanced diet here in the West. But nevertheless, that balanced diet needs a little bit more clarification. I told you in the beginning, no acidic diet, less acidic. The body has to be alkaline. In India, we say sattvic food, sattvic. What exactly is a sattvic food? We have to know, depending upon my season, depending upon my body's capacity, food. And then balance in food also has not only the what I am eating, but also when I am eating, how much I am eating, how much chewing is possible. One formula in Indian culture, we say, whenever you have solid food, you must drink the solid food. Now, what is drinking solid food? And liquids you must eat. You must eat the liquids, drink the solid food. That is a formula. So we have to know balanced in diet, balanced in sleep. Sleep. Early to bed and early to rise makes a person healthy and balanced sleep. Then balanced work. That is very important, especially for the people who are in their 20s, 25, young people, teenagers. Generally, they are pushed in a particular direction by their parents, by their social needs, by their family needs, by their financial needs. But balanced work means that particular work for which your soul has chosen you to come. And sometimes it is not very clear. So to become aware of what my soul's plan was in this life. And when I do that work, sometimes it takes a crisis, a midlife crisis for the people to realize that all that they have done is now they have to change. That crisis can be avoided if people are introduced right from the very beginning, childhood. Practice yoga, practice breathing exercise, practice meditation, practice silence, practice music, practice singing, practice dancing. Be in the nature, walk in the nature. So through all these teachings, that person will be made to go inside. With this, I come to the end of today's workshop. Just about 5 minutes. I want, again, don't break off. 5 minutes, all of you sit quietly, wherever you are. sit quietly. And this time when you sit quietly, just 3 words. 3 words keep on repeating. The words are, I am light, light. I am light. I am love. I am bliss. I am light, love, bliss. That's what I am. Feel. So just 5 minutes, but think and feel that the whole body is not solid. It is not solid. It is as if light filled, made of light. Light condensed has become flesh. So I am light, light, and love. Inside that heart, feel the love as if blossoming like a flower and moving towards all, love. And I am joy. So I am light, I am love, I am joy. Think, feel, will, visualize it to the best of your capacity. That is the last 5 minute meditation we will do. And then when I say namaste again, we will break off this. So now, wherever you are, stop all your things, all these intellectual things now, stop. The whole body, relax. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Relax. Whole body. And in your own mind, keep on repeating, I am light, I am love, I am joy. I am light, I am love, I am joy. I am strength. I will be a source of peace to everybody. I will be a source of strength to everybody. I will not hurt, harm anybody. Even if people are hurting, harming, I don't mind. These thoughts, I am light, I am love, I am bliss. I am light, I am love, I am bliss. Now in your own mind, in this silent moment, tell yourself, my Lord, in whatever circumstances of life you place me, I will radiate peace and harmony and strength all around me. I will create a beautiful island of peace, health, harmony. I wish to be your instrument, my Lord. I wish to. Even my personal desires, I keep it aside and allow you to direct me and guide me. Direct me and guide me. When I say inhale, you must take a slow, deep breath. Wherever you are, take a slow, deep breath when I say inhale. And while exhaling, a soft Om chanting 3 times we will do. And then we will follow it up by a closing prayer. So keep your eyes closed. Visualize yourself as filled with light. Visualize your shining astral body. It is an oval-shaped structure around the physical body. You are surrounded by a golden yellow light. Your own aura shines. Feel it. Visualize it. And now take a slow, deep inhalation. Okay, inhale.
Shanti. Shanti. Shanti.
For all of you, I didn't allow you to ask any questions today, but now go back, think over what I have said, and always keep in touch with me through your emails. That's the way I like to keep in touch. Namaste.